So this is how it looks like in Germany on Sundays. All grocery stores closed. This is my take on it. Sundays in Germany is very holy. For that is, of course, that there's a little bit of a religious factor behind it. In general, on Sundays, it's quite nice that it's very peaceful, it's very quiet here. You wake up, there's not a lot of traffic going on. Different type of mode on a Sunday. You just take it more chill, you're more at home. It's just a very peaceful day with a lot of rest, which it's supposed to be. However, it can be quite nice to sometimes do a little bit of organization on Sundays. So to be able to at least go and do groceries and have your fridge full before the week starts. So actually in Germany, there is a law that enforces this store closing on Sundays. It is called Landgeschusselsätze. My German is not the best. It is
Ladenschlussgesetz.
After doing some research, I found out that it was enacted in 1956. So that's the funny part. This law is not a 200-year-old law that has been around for a very, very long time and is just keeping the society in its old habits. I would say it's quite a new law compared to other laws. This was enforced, and of course before that it was even worse. So shops were barely open until 2 p.m. on Saturdays, as I understood it. It could have been the same in Sweden, not really sure, but here in 2006, 2003, they gave more power to the states of Germany. So some states in Germany are liberal and open, so they have the possibility to be open 24/6. So not 24/7, 24/6. That means that they can be open Monday through Saturday until midnight or all day long and all night long. Not a lot of stores do that, of course, because who would go grocery shopping in the middle of the night? However, here in Bavaria, and I do really like Bavaria a lot, but in Bavaria, everything closes at 8 p.m. They open at 7, close at 8. And that's not so great, because also if you do have some type of hobby or sport that you want to do after work, you really don't have time to do that if you also want to go and do groceries. I don't understand how people manage to actually get their groceries and still have a life, to be honest. It's been a struggle for me a long time. So sometimes I have to go before work in the morning to somehow make it happen. I can of course do also online shopping, but I'm a little bit too old school for that. As I see it, if the grocery store is closed on a Sunday, you will lose sales because it's closed, you cannot sell anything, boom. No sales. However, research actually found that stores wouldn't sell more, because what happens is that people, they do their purchases in the grocery stores on a Saturday instead, or Friday, whatever. They just plan their purchases to cover for Sundays. So actually the grocery stores don't really lose sales, which is good for them, because if they also were open on Sundays, they would have to employ people, which would then incur more costs. So here is a little bit of the debate. If you do open up, try to make sales on that day, then you can claim that it doesn't matter if you have costs that day, because you do have sales that day. However, since it's more or less proven that you will get the sale anyway, it would actually be more costly than profitable. However, I don't think that's entirely true though, because think about it yourself. If you go and get groceries, the likelihood of you buying other things as well that you were not planning on buying is quite high. If you try to cover up for your purchase for a Sunday on a Saturday, I would at least say that you're more likely to just get the minimum required for that day, which is actually what I do. I just get the most basic thing to survive on Sunday, and I don't really get anything else on top of that. So there's no upselling or cross-selling happening. And on a Saturday, as much as it could have happened if it was a Sunday, you were there, you were just more free in your buying mind. When talking talking about sales and costs, when you do look at the margins of grocery chains here in Germany and compare it with the ones in Sweden, you can actually see that the biggest grocery chain in Sweden has around 4.9% profit margin. And if you compare that to one of the bigger ones here in Germany, Rewe, that chain only has 2.2 or 2.3% in margin. It's really clear that the grocery stores here in Germany, the chains, they really struggle with their margins. So on top of that, they're probably not likely or not very interested in opening up on Sundays. Of course, it's one thing to change the law, but just from a demand and a need, they probably don't want to be open on Sundays. However, their margin would probably be the same as the other days, I guess. I'm not the most clever person in that way, but I can just assume that would be more or less the same. But also one thing that the grocery stores must really fight with here in Germany because of the closed Sundays is the supply chain management. I mean, imagine planning on supplying and selling dairy, vegetables, fruit and meat when you cannot sell every day of the week. Because what do you do with all the stuff that you didn't sell that week? And you just leave them there in the fridge on a Sunday and no one can buy it. So that must be a really big challenge. And if you look at the amount of waste in Germany versus Sweden, that's actually though funny that in Sweden it's around 1.6% waste in food retail, and in Germany it's 1.7% waste. So it's actually not so much higher. So somehow the Germans, they still manage to work themselves around their closed Sunday. One thing you can notice though is that when you go grocery shopping, you can run into empty shelves here in Germany, and that would not be the case in Sweden. Actually, today it was way more stocked up than I expected. It was a good Monday. I guess that's because it's a lot of holiday right now, so people are on vacation and they're not really here in the city, I would say. I'm here at Aldi about to do groceries, and today is Thursday, but tomorrow on Friday it's a public holiday. That counts as a Sunday, of course. So that means that all grocery stores will be closed tomorrow, but open on Saturday, but closed again on Sunday. So this is quite a tricky situation right now when you have to do groceries for tomorrow, but you can also potentially go on Saturday if you really want to, and then you have to then cover up for Sunday again. Quite tricky. The big question though is how much groceries are still left, because it's 7:09 p.m. and they close in 50 minutes. So I'm quite curious to see how many groceries are left for me. Okay, I got the groceries. It was okay stocked up. A lot of people getting groceries tonight because they all know that it's closed tomorrow, so quite hectic and a lot of queues. So, as you can see in my experiences, there are many angles to it. I'm not saying that one thing is better than the other. It is just what it is, and you can only accept it.